afternoon, everyone. We are here today to give you the webinar on the Health and Family and Community Engagement 45-day requirements. Next slide. My name is B. Nichols, and I'm the Director of Operations. Here with me is Angela Hughes, Supervising Certified Hearing and Vision Screener, and Kelly Pleasant, who is the Supervisor for Team B and Support for Family and Community Engagement. So I just want to give you a little rundown on what we'll be covering. We will be looking at the 45-day priorities in these two content areas. We will be covering the requirements that all Chicago Early Learning Programs, or if you hear us say SEL programs, wherever applicable, if there are certain requirements that are for different program options, you will see that. We will highlight that in red. And we're here to provide more detailed information. However, you can also find this information in the sales manuals and in those particular sections for each respective content area. We'll also spend a little time with Q&A. I apologize if you cannot hear me. I do go in and out, so please just send Tom Moe, who's here with us and doing a lot of the webinar operation. Just send him you're going to go through Southern House.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. This is Tom. I wanted to let you know that during the Q&As at the very end of our webinar, to type in your questions in your dashboard. Also, if you're listening on a phone call, that's awesome, because that's the best way to get sound. If you're on your computer using the audio from your computer, you'll go in and out. So just still remind you to dial in if you're on your computer. And we expect a large turnout today of attendees. So I'm going to come in the middle of the slides, and you may just hear me again to remind people to type in their questions on the dashboard for the people that join us.
Thank you, Tom. All right, so we're going to begin with health services. And again, we're covering what should have been done within the first 45 days. I believe today is the 45th day. So congratulations to you, because I'm sure that you've implemented everything that we're going to be going through today. So at the beginning of the program year, all children, first to 5, must have a complete, up-to-date physical exam. This is prior to attendance. And you know that we're using the State of Illinois Certificate of Child Health Examination form. This is used to record the results. What you've also been doing is determining whether families have a medical or dental home. They need to have this within 30 days of enrollment, and a follow-up if a medical or dental home is needed. This is specific, as you can see in red, to Head Start and Early Head Start. You have also been following Illinois licensing standards. There is PFA and PI there, but we know that all licensed facilities also have to follow licensing standards. You've been obtaining physicals for home visiting children within 90 days of enrollment. You've been obtaining dental exams within 45 days of attendance or a home visit, specifically again for Head Start and Early Head Start. Conduct research-based developmental screening within 45 days of enrollment. For birth to 3 programs, you should be using the Ages and Stages Questionnaire 3. For preschool programs, the EVR, Early Screening Inventory Revised. All programs should be using Ages and Stages Questionnaire for Social Emotional 2. Continue to monitor and follow up on any missing medical, immunizations, and dental information. All right, so since we're talking about health, we thought that we wanted to spend a little time on hearing and vision, because this is one of those elements in developmental screening. So Angela is going to walk us through some of those points.
Good afternoon. What you're looking at is the scheduling. This is actually our cover letter that is sent out on top of our screening package. So what would happen during this process is that the assigned technician will reach out to your delegate agencies and set a scheduling date to come out to conduct your hearing and vision screening. In the orientation packet that will be mailed out to each individual site, it would include the cover letter in which you just reviewed. It would also include the class list. On the class list, it would have the name, age, and birthday. It's very important that you fill out those fields on that class list, because that gives the technician the information needed to conduct the accurate screening tool for the screening. Also, there will be a practice game. The practice game is basically for you to implement into the classroom, and we usually mail this orientation packet out 2 to 3 weeks prior to our scheduled visit out. We ask that you play with the children in the classroom setting, and you can also use it to send home with the parents, so that you're alerting the parents that it's going to be coming up, and that it's something that they can work with their children at home with. Also, you will receive our hearing and vision screening record folder. The screening record folder I will later talk about in this presentation. It's an ongoing record. One is usually used during the duration of the child's stay within your center. There's also included in this packet is the screening notification that we ask that you post, which is what you're viewing right now. Has your child played the HOTV game? And it also has another content to this that gives the actual date of that screening. You will write it in, you will post it in your centers, giving notification to the parents. This is just an overview of what the state does. It's in English and in Spanish, and it just has a smaller version of how to play the game. This is that screening record form that I spoke of. As you can see, it's an ongoing record, as I stated before. And what we will do is continue to put the results of the screening each time we come out to screen the children. This also alerts any technician in the event that it's another technician other than the one that's assigned to your agency or site. They can kind of follow and know what happened with the child before. And it gives us just that whole follow-up for that child. The results will look like this. The child either passed. We don't actually fail 3 to 5 year olds, but it'll show you it will show it unable. In the event that the child has actually failed the screening, we will refer the child. So it'll be followed up with a referral. And then, of course, if the child is absent, it will indicate that the child was absent on the date of our visit out. This is just our cover letter that goes attached to the referrals. If the child was identified as a child that needs to be referred out for further assessment, then we will attach this cover letter along with the referral required, whether it's vision or hearing, and it will go home to the parent. This is our vision referral form. This is a state form that we use. So the doctor we will fill out the top portion of it. The doctor will fill out the bottom portion of it, and then it will have the diagnosis, the treatment plan, and any follow-up that is needed. This information will need to be inputted into our COPA database. Referral outcomes are returned to the site, and the technician tracks and follows for follow-up purposes. This is our hearing referral. But again, as before, parents will be provided the referral along with the resource list as well. And this information will also be recorded into our database, COPA. All referrals we ask that all referrals are returned back to the site. The technician gets a copy of that referral. That information gets put back into our COPA system, and any follow-up needed will be the reason for that.
Okay, thank you, Angela. We want to just take a brief pause before we go into our next health session. All right, thank you. Now we will go into some other areas, not necessarily 45 days, but because this is a year that we are focusing on a culture of safety, we want to make sure that all of our programs are very safe. So you are all operating in licensable facilities. You have a current DCFS and City of Chicago license. And that also includes your spaces for socialization. If you are a licensed exempt facility, then you need to have a current DCFS exemption letter. You should be conducting health and safety checks in your indoor as well as your outdoor spaces. Ensure staff are engaged in active supervision. So right here, Tom, I want to go to the next resource, the next slide that we have on the catch. Those of you that have been with us for a while, this is familiar to you. And catch stands for count and call out loud, assess the environment, think of hiding places, check and check again, and hold them in your sight. So, this is very important. As we come out, as we do announced and unannounced visits, as we have other visitors, what we're looking for is that at all times, adults are supervising and engaged with the children. Okay, Tom, if you can go back. All right. So I wanted to point that out as a resource, and we're going to make that available to you all if you do not have it. We also want to implement a system for ongoing preventative maintenance. You all know that our vendor is Globetrotters, and that vendor comes out and does annual assessments of your facility. This may be new for some of our newer programs, but you should be doing this as well, going out, making sure that there are no repairs that may be needed. You need to report any issues immediately to your assigned monitoring team lead at DFSS. I believe this morning there was a CSD special update that went out, right, Tom?
Yes.
And it gave you the team leads and the teams, as well as one of the forms that we're about to go over. So make sure that you check your CSD update. We also want you to report any significant incident affecting the health and safety of program participants immediately to your assigned monitoring team lead. If we could go to the next slide, and the next. So I wanted to add this reporting hierarchy so that sites and partners understand that they need to report up to their delegate agency. The delegate agency needs to report up to DFSS. You may also need to report to DCFS, depending on what the issue is. And if it's a Head Start child that's involved, the grantee, DFSS, has to report up to HHS because they want to know about the incidents. They want to know about the trends that we're seeing in agencies and how we're tracking that information. Next slide. Go to the next. So I want to go to this because this is an important memo. This was the memo that was sent out in September, about immediate reporting of incidents. And what we mean by immediate is the same day. So delegates are responsible to report to us in the same day that the incident occurred, whether that's via email, telephone call, you stop in for a visit, however you let us know, we need to know that immediately. Delegates, I would encourage to have that same type of reporting system with their sites and partners so that we're not wasting a lot of time in between. Also, this memo outlines for you the types of incidents that we want reported. As you can see there under number 1, significant incidents. So, what do your policies and procedures say around significant incidents? You need to know that, as well as if there are any reports to DCFS or to the Chicago Police Department, that would be significant enough for us to know about, as well as any health or safety issues. We need to know. We need to know if your boiler goes out, especially if it's on a cold day, or if your air conditioning goes out, if it's on a hot day. If a child got stung by a bee, that doesn't seem like it's real significant. But what if that child was a hemophiliac or a bleeder, and you had to rush the child to the hospital? It becomes a significant incident. So I'm just giving you some examples of what we would like reported. You see that there are some other reporting factors, and I'm not going to read this entire memo to you. If you need a copy of this memo and you do not have it, we will make it available to you. I believe that it went out in one of the CNC updates, but you can always call one of your DFSS monitoring team leads, and they can provide this to you. Okay, if we could go back. So now I want to walk you through the incident reporting form. So just give us a minute to get the form up. There we go. You can see that we've made a couple of revisions based on information from you and from our team that have been using the form. And I just want to walk you through several of, I'm not going to go through this entire form, but I want to point several of these out, and Kevin, feel free to jump in if there's anything else you want me to go over. Some of the important pieces is the date the incident was reported to DFSS. What was the time of the call, the email, the visit? The person reporting the incident is very important. And we need to know the title of the person because we will be doing our follow-up. And in that follow-up, we'll be conducting interviews. So we will more than likely interview that person on staff that was involved. If you could scroll down to children. All right, right here, children's names and ages that were involved in the incident is important. The next important feature is program model or option. As I showed you in the hierarchy, when it is a Head Start child that is involved in any incident, the grantee has to immediately notify HHS. So I know things get a little chaotic and hectic when incidents happen, but this form was created so that you could have the wherewithal to pick up this form and walk through the pieces that we need without having to really put any more undue pressure on you. If we can go to the next. All right, DCFS involvement. Well, let's stop here. Emergency medical assistance. Again, if the child had to be transported to the hospital, we need to know about that. If DCFS is involved, if they're at your site, if you called it in and reported the incident, we need to have the report number. We need to know who made the call, when they made the call. And if you have any other contact information, like the case manager at DCFS that you reported to. And it would be the same with any call or report with the Chicago Police Department, if you can scroll down. And then site visit. DFSS will be conducting, I'm gonna turn it over to Kelly so she can kind of talk through what our teams go through once we receive a incident report.
Good afternoon. So once one of the monitoring teams here, which we have 5 teams, once they receive the report, we then make sure we schedule a time and date to come out to assess what occurred. So during that assessment, it may require interviewing the teacher or interviewing any persons involved, the site director, and then we also may need to pull documentation, such as daily checks, health checks, things of that nature. Policies, procedures, parent handbooks, maybe when the last time staff were trained on different situations like mandated reporter, those things will need to be pulled and reviewed.
And as Kelly said, oftentimes we want to schedule with you because we know that it's so hectic, but there are other times where we will just show up unannounced. So I need you to know that as well, because everybody's looking out for the safety of the participants in the program, whether it's a child or a staff person, a consultant, a family. We want to make sure that folks are safe. We will ask questions like, when was the family notified? We will oftentimes, if we can, we will oftentimes interview the family if they're there, because HHS, especially if this is a Head Start kid, they're going to want to know, did we speak with the family? We want you to complete this form as much as you possibly can. We realize that this is going to be an ongoing, you won't have all the information in the beginning. And so we will be revisiting this form with you and getting information as it develops. If you can scroll down. Okay, the other thing that we're going to be asking about, especially when this involves staff, is if the person was placed on administrative leave. That's why it's important, as Kelly pointed out, that you need to know what your HR policies are, because we'll be asking for those as well. You want to remember that if there is a report on an allegation on staff, it is that, an allegation. Until we get that report back from DCFS or another agent that has that opportunity to say whether it is founded or unfounded. And then when the report comes back, we need a copy of that as well. We've also had a few agencies that have been involved with families that have maintained an attorney. And so legal has also been involved with that particular agency. Whatever information you can give us about that, we would need it as well so that we can check liability. So I wanted to go over this. I thought it was worth the time to view it with you because hold on, let me go over this. It is very important, and it's something that we need to really focus on this year. If we get it down this year, and feds will probably be out more than likely to make sure that we are following our processes. You have this form in place, and it's a part of your system. One of the things that other agencies use are cameras. They have cameras throughout their facility. So it is typical that our staff will ask, they may take photos, they may ask if you have photos, if you have video footage, and we would want to see that. And then this section at the bottom that's in blue is a way for our team, internal DFSS, to provide you with recommended next steps or things that we want to follow up on. This is a partnership. This isn't a gotcha. So we want to make sure that you are getting the information on a timely basis, that you're sharing all that you know, and that we're providing any recommendations we can and technical assistance to help. All right, so if we could go back. Okay, next.
Hi, everyone. This is Tom again. Just want to let you know that a lot of people have been joining the presentation as we started at 2 o'clock, I'm sorry. And so just for those that are coming on to the webinar, in your dashboard on the right-hand side, just please type in your questions and we'll get to them at the end of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. All right, if we can skip through this. So now we're going to focus on nutrition services, complete nutrition assessments, and that's specifically for Head Start and early Head Start. And if there is a special care plan that's needed for that individual child, then you have to prepare that plan. Again, children come to us with chronic conditions, sometimes with allergies. So we need to know what those are. For instance, asthma, or it could be diabetes, or maybe there's a treatment plan that the doctor has the child on, or that the nutritionist has prepared in terms of feeding or bottles. You need to know what that is and be able to follow that plan. Ensure all growth assessments are completed. This is for all programs. USDA contracts must be in good standing. You need to plan and post menus once the nutritionist and parents have reviewed them. Plan and conduct the first classroom food experience. So now we're moving on to mental health and well-being. Again, I'm not giving you everything. I'm giving you what should be occurring in the first 45 days. And I should have also mentioned early on, all of what we're reviewing can be found in the cells. All right, mental health and well-being. All agencies must create an environment of attitudes and behaviors of well-being throughout the program. Must develop contracts with qualified mental health providers and submit completed contracts to DFSS. This is a Head Start, early Head Start requirement, but it is also best practice for PFA and PI programs, that you know the qualification of your mental health provider. Mental health consultants must be licensed or certified mental health professionals and have knowledge of and experience in serving young children and their families. Make sure that you allocate sufficient resources to mental health services in order to provide for the services outlined in the sales pack. Mental health services will include individual child and classroom observation, planning with parents about the mental health education program, crisis intervention and referrals, preparing both behavioral plans for individual children and classroom management. Continuity of relationships, or CORE, is the model that should be implemented in all 1st to 3 classrooms in order to sustain child and teacher well-being. Okay, next slide. We're going to move to family engagement.
A family support specialist or a family support worker must be hired. Family partnership agreement process, all program options must offer parents opportunity to engage in family goal setting, taking into consideration the family's willingness to engage in the process. And this applies to Head Start, Early Head Start, CCP, and PI. For PSA, while it's not required to implement the SPA process, family goal setting is strongly encouraged. Offer the family the opportunity to engage in the process and setting of goals within the first 60 days of enrollment for those program types listed. For families that may not be ready to enter into the process, the program must document contact monthly. Then you make appropriate referrals and maintain contact with families on their caseload every 30 days. Implement parent orientation and share the parent handbook. Begin to create community partnership agreements with local organizations. Parents as teachers and Baby Talk are the approved research-based curriculum. Other curriculum models must be approved by DFSS. And all programs must provide a parent orientation and handbook. And for further information in the sales, this is located on pages 150 through 159.
Okay.
I just want to let everybody know some of the questions you've been asking is about receiving the PowerPoint, to print the slides, to have as a resource. Yes, we will be sending you the PowerPoint. With these slides, we'll also have a recording link that we'll be putting up on our DFS YouTube channel, and this all will be provided to you in a CSD update that we will be sending actually at the end of today, and we'll make sure that it goes out in another CSD update as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And now we want to just go over a few resources. And this by no means is an exhaustive list, but just some things as we were preparing for the webinar that we thought would be good for you to know about. So, Vision for Schools program.
Vision for Schools programs, which is known as VSP. We offer the VSP gift certificates of children and families who may not have vision insurance. In this event, you will reach out to your assigned technician and you will let her know that this is something of interest that we could possibly look into. The gift certificate will be offered to the children, and the children will take the gift certificate to the doctor. It'll pay and cover for the visit, and it'll pay and cover for the glasses if need be. It's really a good program that each and every one of your agencies can also enroll in, because it not just serves the child in the program, but it can serve any children in the family up to age 18.
It's a wonderful program. Mm-hmm. We've been using this program for years now. They've been with us how long?
So we've been using VSP for over 20 years that I'm aware of.
Yes. Excellent program. The next resource that I want to make sure that you have is the Caring for Our Children National Health and Safety Performance Standards. This is where you can find more information about, I believe it's transportation, outdoor safety. We're going to try to take you to this hyperlink so you can become familiar with the tool and use it at your site. But this is what it looks like. If you could scroll down a little, it gives you these resources: maintaining healthy weight, assessments for children, and it's all over the United States. So I would encourage you to go here and take a look around and make it a resource. The next resource is what we refer to as CKLKC. Go ahead, Kelly, because I'm losing my voice.
All right. So for eClick is another resource that has a lot of information. I'm going to have Tom go to it, and then I'm going to have him type in just active supervision. So when we talked about the incident report form, some things we always talk about is active supervision, the mapping of the rooms, and culture and safety. So if he just types in the keyword active supervision and hits search, you'll see that those will all come up, and then you can click on the link and you'll get information about those topics that you type in the search box. Mm-hmm. So eClick is a very good resource. It also talks about hazard mapping. It talks about culture and safety. Mm-hmm. So it's a very good resource.
Mm-hmm. And all of those of you in the Ed Start world should be familiar with eClick. But I would also encourage our PFA and PI program. It's a lot of good information there. They give you little vignettes. If you're planning for a training, you can drop these in and do a little video. There's a place where you can subscribe.
Yes, you can subscribe to it as well. And then for some of our newer agencies, also when we send out the CSD update, we have hyperlinks right in the update that you can click on, and it'll take you right to different literature that we have as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is an excellent resource. Okay. And then the last two resources you should be very familiar with. The state, Illinois Department of Children and Family Services licensing standards, as well as our sales manual 2.0. If you go there, you should be able to find pretty much anything that you need to, that you're looking for. We can go to the next. All right, so I wanted to spend just a little time talking about ongoing monitoring systems, because for every content area, you should have a system where you're providing ongoing monitoring, especially if you have multiple sites. So it's important that all sales programs have an effective system to monitor health and family services. Today, as we mentioned earlier, we're focused on the 45-day priorities. However, you should be doing this monitoring all year long. And as you find that there are areas that maybe you have questions about or you'd like more information about, you can reach out to our monitoring team and they will put you in touch with quality, if it's training that you need, if it's any of our support service contractors or vendors, they can put you in touch with them. CSD will also be offering additional information in these respective content areas. So we need you to check your CSD electronic updates often, because those upcoming training areas will be coming to you electronically. So we want to make sure that you have that information, as well as get in contact with the team. And if this would be a perfect time for us to go over the team structure with you. So give us a minute and we'll find that. Like I said, it came out this morning in a CSD special announcement. We gave you the team There are 5 monitoring teams, and it's coming up in a few minutes. There we go. So on those monitoring teams, you have specialists, and that's what those initials are for. Kelly, if you could just walk them through your team.
So this is the 5 teams that I spoke about earlier, our monitoring team. So each team has a letter. So it goes from letters A through E. And so if you're reading the spreadsheet, you can see at the top the supervisor is, for example, Denise Jordan. And then under her are the support service coordinators who are assigned to her team. And then there's specialty content areas. So PM will be program management, where they cover IRCIA and HR. You also have Ed, which is education. Then you also would see PM again. And so that PM covers transportation, program governance, and safe environment. And then you have the last SSC will be health and FCE. And under there, when you're reading this, so you want to make sure you're reading from left to right. So next to Ada S. McKinley, they have 30. That means 30 sites. So you don't want to look at it and say Ada S. McKinley has 3 where you see under Team B. So I just want to make sure you all see that correctly. You're going to read from left to right. And then it goes down for each site and tells you how many site locations they have. And then at the bottom, as you heard from Angela Hughes earlier, those are her staff members. Mm-hmm. The audio, vision, text, and you'll see their names at the bottom. Mm-hmm. And then the last box all the way to the bottom tells you how many sites are assigned to that particular team and how many slots combined for all program models.
Thank you, Kelly. So this came to you this morning. It is a work in progress. If you do not see yourself, please let me know because we are continuously updating this. And as we add staff change, we also update it. So we just wanted to take a minute and share that with you. And you should have gotten your introductory welcome letters as well from your monitoring team lead. So please let us know if there's anything that you need. We are here to support you. And we really thank you for joining us on this webinar. And
we're going to pause for a minute because we have a few questions. We know you asked some of them in the beginning and during the middle, so they're going to pertain to a certain section. We'll do our best to get to all of them today. So please type them in your dashboard, and you're just going to hear us on silence for the next 30 seconds to a minute. Thank you. Hi, everyone. We'll be back in just 1 second.
One of the questions is, do we need to use a specific subject line when making a report? And that's referring to the incident report. You will send that to your applicable team lead that we showed you on that spreadsheet. And you can just address it on incident report. And another question, if you have not received a letter from your team lead, at this time, since you have that sheet, you can email the supervisor at the top, who would be the lead. And our email addresses are always the first name with a period in between, the last name at City of Chicago, written all the way out, small letters is fine, .org. Again, first name with the dot in the middle, last name at cityofchicago.org.
Okay. The next question is, do hearing and vision screening process also apply to PIHV only, not center-based? Early Head Start and PI are your infant toddler program. Those children should be receiving their hearing and vision through their baby well check.
Okay. Who can we contact for questions regarding health? For example, home-based health requirements for children under 12 months. And again, as Kelly said, you need to reach out to your monitoring team, and that lead will put you in touch with the health expert.
Do we need to use your incident report, or can we use the one in-house? We're to use the DFSS incident report form.
Where can we find the hearing and vision referral forms?
The hearing and vision referral forms are issued by the hearing and vision technician on site. They can't be generated. The technician generates that hearing and vision form during the course of that screening.
For Team C, yes, you have an interim supervisor. That would be Elaine Millsap Parker. So you would email her at elaine.millsap-parker@cityofchicago.org. And her name was at the top over Teams D and E.
All right, Tom, I'm going to give you a question. Can you, where is it, about COPA? There. I'm a Head Start partner with limited access to COPA, but I have PI and PSA. Will I need another COPA access?
That's a great question. We, the person that is overseeing and administering COPA here will get in touch with you, and also we can share lists and a CSD update about how to get access. So that's a great question, and we'll give you more information about the different levels of access and who has it. So thank you.
There's another question. When will forms be available online? And I don't know exactly which forms you're referring to, but the PowerPoint itself will be made available to you, as well as you should have received some of these forms this morning. You should have received the monitoring team as well as the incident reporting. But if you want to give us a little more information about exactly which forms you're looking for, we can help. All right. The incident report. Oh, okay. Thank you, Karen. You were specifying that it was the incident report form that you were looking for, and you should have received that this morning. All right. Thank you so much for giving us your time and attention today. And we will be rolling out, as I said, additional webinars. And I don't know if my colleagues want to say anything in closing, other than thank you very much for joining us.